All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So I want to cover four on this one. We'll do SoFi, SoundHound, Big Bear AI, and gotta throw in Guard Force today after the nice move we saw, right? But look, SoFi, if you watched my last video, is actually playing out just as we thought, right? So you hear me say it all the time. You bounce on the 8 like a champion. You use the 20 as well as you can to go back over it, but hey, you break the 8, you go to the 20, you break the 20, you go to the 50 on the way up. You lose the 8, you go to the 20, you lose the 20, and you make your way down to the 50. And that's basically what we're seeing right now, right? What's going to happen next is a little bit on the interesting side because these aren't that pretty down here. But hey, I'm seeing a real strong 50 moving average, right? So it's I don't want to say 50-50 thoughts. I think I'm a little leaning towards one way more than the other. But, there's a little bit of an interesting contradiction here that we definitely have to take into account, all right? SoundHound is seemingly reminding me and starting to look like SoFi. And again, on the last video, I remember being so tongue-tied between SoundHound and SoFi because they were starting to become interchangeable, all right? You can see the same beautiful, beautiful bouncing on the 8 moving average like a champion. It uses the 20 a little bit earlier than SoFi needed. I almost mixed them up again right there. And it's kind of seeming like where SoFi was about 2 weeks ago. All right. We had a moment where the 8 and the 20 were getting a little tight, and there was a really scary spacing between the 50. This thing stayed horizontal long enough for the 50 dropped. Imagine if we lost the 50 and fell all the way there, right? This is a far less scary drop than, hey, imagine if it happened here, right? So that's what we need SoundHound to do. We do not want to lose the 20 and fall to the 50. Okay, obviously I'd love it to go back up, don't get me wrong, right? And I'm going to talk about the up just as much as the down, but maybe we'll stay horizontal, then lose it just like SoFi did. I don't know if we're going to go back up and bounce. It's a pretty fresh line. Again, we'll talk about things. There's still a little bit of that same contradiction down here, but the one thing we do not want is to lose the 20 and fall to the 50 when the gap is this big. That would be a very, very bad thing. All right. So those are going to be the two things I talk about on those. Look, BBAI and Guard Force. I don't know if I'm going to chapter these two together, but in a lot of ways, and I've been saying it on the quant sector. I just said it on the robotic stocks that I just posted. Every sector does the same thing. When the big juggernauts do really, really well, the sector strength is going to help the little boys, the little girls out there in the ticker world as well, right? And when those big ones make those 3x, 4x, 5x moves, hey, all of a sudden this one looks pretty fresh right here. And maybe the little ones can start to make a catch-up move. And I think we're seeing that with BBAI. And I think today we saw that with Guard Force AI. With Guard Force, there was also a very nice moving average spacing, right? It wasn't very, very pretty, but we're trying to get over the 100, we finally get to and go to the 200, right? So again, as the big ones do well, the little ones gain the strength, they gain the volume. All of a sudden, look at this thing, getting 5 and 7, you get the point, right? So that's really what we're looking for on those two, and what I look for really on every single sector that I try to trade, right? Last thing we're going to end this with is the NASDAQ, all right? Each of these are very much tech heavy. I would include the S&P 500 with SoFi, and I will include the S&P 500 here, but look, NASDAQ was a good day today, okay? NASDAQ was an important 50 moving average bounce. Some people, honestly, myself included, I don't count wicks. So to me, this is still actually a very fresh 50 moving average as well. The same thing that I just said about SoFi, right? But yeah, you can say that we used the 50 there, we used the 50 there. Hey, we used it once to try to get over. Can we try a little better? Like, I would love NASDAQ if we can get over 20,040, 20,050, give or take, something like that. That would be amazing. I think right now my minimum requirement is basically 19,850. 40, 35 is where I was clicking, give or take, right? But that's what I'm looking for. I need to get back over the 8 and the 20, let alone go back into the all-time high good, right? That's a nice RSI, but I think I'm not liking this MACD too much But hey, we're definitely still positive, and I'll obviously take that for sure, right? But yeah, right now I think my focus is definitely on the moving averages. We do not want to come back towards the 50. I would start to get worried if we lose 19,500 on the NASDAQ, okay? So I think that was a pretty good opening thought, but before we do go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions of what are we going to do, same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I'm so grateful for it, all right? So let's zoom out a bit. And look, I love showing this so much, okay? The one of the things that I love looking for, and I'm looking at the 200 moving average right now, okay? You can actually do the exact same thing with the 50 moving average if you're looking at it too, okay? The purple line is a resistance. It's a resistance. It's a resistance. It's a resistance. Resistance, resistance, resistance. All of a sudden, it's a support. It's a support. You've now broken them all and you fly, right? Like when a resistance becomes a support, oh, that's a beautiful thing to watch for, all right? And all of a sudden, we break all 5 and we fly. We bounce like a champion on the 8 moving averages. These silly little phrases that I say and I make silly and easy for a reason. I mean, this is what they look like. Like if I was to write a book and I was gonna make a chapter of bare bone textbook beauty, it's this. Probably the only thing that could have been nicer is if the RSI was down here at 30 and made a nice steady climb all the way up. But I think it's kind of cool that it did a little bit of that. But I mean, I'm telling you, look at the MACD. Beautiful, right? Volume wasn't even monstrous. And it was actually barely over the 50, let alone just at it, right? So this thing could have been even wilder. But hey, that's a beautiful 2-month run right there, okay? And again, one funny thing that I just kept saying is how many educated things can I say? I can only say bouncing on the 8 like a champion so many times, right? And you can only draw so many educated lines, right? All of a sudden, things started to get a little interesting, okay? And you start to look. I always respect these 5 lines before my little human clicks, right? I also, if you watch my videos long enough, I'm not really trying to click these perfectly. Good enough will make you or save you a lot of money. I promise you that, all right? Nothing's financial advice, of course, but sometimes I make some pretty good clicks, and you got to when you're over all 5 of the lines and you can't use these anymore, right? And man, the 8 tried to get us over that resistance, but it simply couldn't, right? And as much as I love hunting breaks up, as you start losing them, you lose them down, right? And it started to seem like we were going to lose the 8 and the 20, and if you do lose that, you're going to come to the 50, and lo and behold, we did, right? I think the one really good thing is how fresh that line was. And that's an important thing to remember as you're making climbs up, right? The reason we were able to stay for what, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, a full month horizontally was because of how fresh that 20 moving average was, right? Hopefully we can use this to be extra fresh and go back up and get back over, and that's obviously what I'd love to see, right? But hey, maybe we're gonna kind of just end up living on this 50, right? I don't really know. I think what I really need is the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ to do well. And look, both of them are trying very hard. A normal index day is 0.3. This was 1.2 something, almost a what, 4x better day on the S&P, right? We're no longer, knock on wood, thinking 100 moving average. Hopefully we can, there's some red, green, red, green that can make there's reasons to be a little optimistic on the S&P 500. Those exact same reasons are on the NASDAQ. I'm not thinking of losing the 50. There's red, green, red. Maybe we can green on back up over the MAs, right? right? They both have that same little this thing was even more than, this was more than 5x, right? Because 5x of zero point 0.3 is 1.5, right? So there was good hope days here, right? I always say Friday's a loser day, so hopefully Monday starts the first trading week strong, right? I mean, again, there are reasons, but I need just a little bit more. And I really think if the indices do well, specifically those two, that'll dictate whether we bounce up from the 50 or live on the 50. I think it's a little too presumptuous to think we're going to lose that line. Like I said, it's still a really fresh line. That said, if we lose this line, I would actually use my golden line before I use the moving average. Again, you know I respect the MAs way more, but yeah, I think I drew a good golden line. And yeah, if we were to lose 1420, we're falling very quickly. We will green to red, down to 1245 really quickly. What we really need to do is come on up to 1545. And then after that, make a good jump to 16. That's what I would love. I would love to gap over those two lines if possible, actually. I think that's a good SoFi review. Did I look at the weekly? I don't think I looked at the weekly just yet. Okay, look at this, right? We got over all 5. We definitely flew. We're now potentially, but definitely still just an early quick candle, right? So we're going to need to see what next week looks like. I don't want to lose the 8 and come down to the 20. That would not be good. But SoFi, no, I was going to go from SoFi to SoFi. SoFi has shown me it can get below the 8 and hopefully, look, because we did it a couple times. We came below it, but we waited. We ended up going. We came below it, we waited, and then it finally caught up, right? Maybe this thing can catch up a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we can stay horizontal here long enough to catch up. Otherwise, I'd love to go up. I'm not really liking these indicators too much. But again, if the indices can do well, so will SoFi. I think that's my thought overall. So look, I guess let's give some numbers. I would be very worried. What's this line? Sorry, I went quiet. I'm thinking. It's that line. I think 1366 is my... but see, that's too... that's... No. Let's do that one. We can't go below 1405. I think if we lose but see, that's too close to the 50. You could see how 50. Oh man, yeah. I think that's the safest line to use. 1364 is my final warning number. I don't want to call it a death line because like it's by no means not. But yeah, I think if you lose 1360, it'll be a quick fall to 1245. And then I gave my 2 numbers up right there. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Let's come into SoundHound. And really, I feel like I gave most of the thoughts in the opening thoughts, but SoundHound is starting to remind me a lot of SoFi. And I said that same thing on the last video too. I actually meant it on the way up, truth be told. I'm a little surprised to see us actually come down these last few days. This was a big candle right here. I'm a little surprised. And look, RSI was a pretty healthy 75. I say pretty healthy because like 75, again, you should be going up still, not down, right? But yeah, whole mess of interesting the last few candles to say the least. These I'll maybe give a little bit to end of the year sell off, right? Again, I mentioned that was a normal thing in the beginning of the year, but yeah, right now we got to get back over that at the minimum. I think 22. I'm clicking on 2190, right? But 22, I think is the baseline money line for me to think that this thing's going to continue, all right? I think the bigger focus here is the 50 moving average, all right? The red line right here. I think I'm going to delete some lines. We don't really need these ones anymore. They're definitely well below. I'll even delete this one. I don't even think we need that one because we got the 50 moving average, we got the 100, we got the 200 right there, okay? The concern is losing the 20. You break the 8, you go to the 20. You break the 20, you go to the 50. You lose the 8, you go to the 20. You lose the 20, you go to the 50. And I do not want to lose the 20 at 19, 18 something, and fall all the way to the 50 down here. That's horrible, right? That's horrible. Obviously, you'll be close to the golden line, and you're hearing me say that I'm bullish over the golden line, but falling from whoop to woo, oh my gosh, that's not bullish, right? That's horrible. So it's critical. It is critical we do not lose the 20 moving average. I think 1818. What is this open? Let's actually give it to the penny. 1819. That was a pretty good click. 1818 is my oh no line. We cannot lose 1818. Hopefully, we actually never go anywhere below 1870-ish. Hopefully, we just use the 20 moving average like it's supposed to be used, get back over the 8 and keep on going up, right? And again, I already said that the number was 22 that I'm looking for, all right? When we look at the weekly, that's a little on the ugly side of the RSI. And again, sometimes you go away from the 8 and then you come to the 8 before you use it and take off again. We've gone pretty far up, and I would not want to come back down to that 15, right? So looking at the weekly, hopefully we don't go anywhere below 19-ish. But yeah, at that point, yeah, you still got to use that line. No, there's not too much I can take from the weekly. What's that line right there? 1760. Okay, 1760. I think those are the two lines I'll give. I think it'll be that 1818 as the first one. Excuse me, sorry about that. 1818 and then 1760. I think those are my two numbers. Where is the 1760? I'm going to delete the line, but where is 1760 just so I can see it? Somewhere-ish right here. Yeah, that line. I'm okay. I believe that. Okay, those are the two lines. If you lose that one, you can already see it. Green, 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 red, 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 green, green, green. It will be a fast red, red, red down to that, all right? So I think those are the two lines up. I think those are the two lines down. I will say it one more time. That's a pretty fresh 20 moving average. The last time we used it was November 19th. All right, like, I mean, it's been a little bit more than a month and a half. Let's just pretend we were boxers, right? Imagine you got socked in the face real quick by a real hard right hook. Oh my, that's gonna hurt. But I think in about a month and a half, you're gonna recover and you're ready for another face shot, right? So hopefully we don't lose that 20. Hopefully it can take one more hit, be a good support, and bounce us on back up. All right. I gotta work on my analogies. That's definitely a goal for the new year, all right? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so much. I am gonna chapter these two together. So one common thing I say is when sectors do well, sector strength helps everyone in the sector. All right. If the news is only for two specific stocks, that could be enough to help number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, and maybe even number 7 in the sector, right? I think that's what's going on with BBAI and with Guard Force AI, GFAI. I think we've seen some really big things on SoundHound. Palantir has been on a 2-year crush, right? I mean, the AI sector has seen some big runners. And it might be time to start looking at some new fresh ones. And that might be what's going on. Look, BBAI has already made a 2x move, right? We went from 2 to 4 plus already, right? But when you look at SoundHound's real silly 5x move, right? It went from what? 2 not that long ago to the 20 that it's at. That's 10x right there, right? I mean, it's just this alone was 4x from the 5 to 20. It wasn't that long we were in the right. You get the point, right? So it starts to bring focus and eyes elsewhere. And all of a sudden, this is a pretty fresh break of all 5 moving averages, right? You look at GFAI, this thing hasn't even broken all 5 just yet, right? And there are seas, there's oceans of red for this thing to run, right? So I mean, let's zoom out. I think no, this one's not as obvious. There's been some big volume days, but hey, let's just talk about that. This has seen the big volumes, right? It doesn't necessarily hold very well, and I'd be careful as you start going lower in the sector, but sector strength and fresher breaks of all the moving averages, those are important things to be looking for, all right? With BBAI, look, it's not as pretty, but it is bouncing on the 8, and it is losing the 8 but holding it with the 20, right? So I mean, that is textbook stuff, right? There's a lot of dojis in between. There's not a lot of like full confirmation back-to-back candles, right? Like that's a good candle, those are not confirmation. That's a good candle, those are not confirmation. That's a good one. I wouldn't say that's a good one. And really, that's the one that's overall 5 and the next one doesn't confirm, right? That's maybe the best one too. But all of a sudden, it looks like I drew a pretty good line as we're like struggling with this thing, right? But the moving average has brought us here, right? There's either the moving average is going to take us over as it continues on over, right? Or it's not. And that's really what we're looking at. I'm going to zoom out again. That's an important line. It's a really important line. I'm disregarding this moment right here because that's a good candle. That's no confirmation, and that's just losing it, right? So the last real time we were over this thing was really the IPO moments, right? We use it as a support. We use it as a support. We lose it. And basically, since the middle of 2022, we were never over it well. Okay, that's a no joke line right there. You break that line, oh man, you can see my next one's up, right? But that's a no joke line, and you can't assume it's going to, all right? But I like the MACD, I like the RSI, I like the volume, I like the consistent growth. I mean, there's things to like here, right? Yeah, I don't know what else to say here, right? That's a decent weekly as well, right? I'm seeing golden crosses. The 20 did that. Looks like the 50 is going to golden cross the 100 in the next week or two. 76 is a little high on the RSI, but that's a nice MACD. That's good volume. I know I see it going down the last 3 weeks, but I think I see nice, consistent 245 million share weeks, and that's strength right there. You know, there are stocks that will never get this many shares traded in a full month. You know what I mean? So that's some monster numbers to be sitting on as an average, right? So I think BBAI is showing more good than bad. If we were to lose 4, we're going to quickly fall down to 350, 360, something like that. Definitely do not want to go below 350 because that's losing the 20 moving average, but I think we're a little too far from that to have to talk about that right now. But excuse me. Cool. I think that's BBAI right there. And again, Guard Force AI, literally the exact same thoughts, right? We've been trying to get over that 100 moving average. I mean, even this isn't that good. Basically, since here, right? We've been under that 100 moving average basically since April 2023, right? We're knocking on the door of almost 2 years, right? So that's a no joke line. If you can get over it, you're going to get to the 200. And we tried but couldn't. We tried but couldn't. Luckily, we don't even have to come all the way down here. The 8 and the 20 do the job. And yeah, we've broken the 100 and have gone to the 200, right? This thing isn't the best at confirming. It's been a lot of green, red, green, red, green, red, green, red. But again, I just mentioned it. This is a fresh break, right? We've seen most of the other sectors break. And I mean, this thing has tried before, but never really like. I think right now the question is going to be, can this thing sustain? Most of it is going to be determined by volume. I'll say that. All right. So look, I see it flying after hours. I do. Okay. I still legitimately think there's a chance that this can come down to 170 tomorrow. So be really, really careful with that. All right. Otherwise, you can see 269 is my next line up. I'll draw one more just to have it. Looks like it's the top of that. Looks like it's that. 330, 340, give or take. Those are the 2 lines up. And like I said, 170 is my next line down. If we were to lose 170, it would basically come back down to 150. All right. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinion. Oh, let me look at the weekly. Sorry, I don't think I looked at the weekly just yet. 215. Keep 215 in your back pocket. Obviously, that's a lot higher than where we closed, right? So even 215 would still be a nice number, but maybe 215 can catch this after hours push if after hours falls, okay? Maybe 215 can catch it. Otherwise, that's where I'm going to start thinking 170 and below, okay? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so, so much.